Wait. I mean, you don't have to say it like that. Wait, what? I don't know why I choose to, but anyway. Galaxy. Flaky flake. I could go to bed with Stephen Fry in my ear every night. Hi, I'm Daisy Edgar-Jones, narrator of The Glitch, and these are my audio firsts. The first book I remember being read to as a child was The Magic Faraway Tree and The Wishing Chair by Enid Blyton. I think it was my dad's favourite book as a kid too. He used to do all the voices, and my mum as well. They were both very good readers, so they were very theatrical with it, but I really remember it as a kid. The first sound I hear in the morning is my alarm. Whenever my alarm was a song, it would always get in my head. So now I have to choose something that is just like ambient drum noises. It used to be do 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 do. The first sound that comes to mind when I think of home is probably the sound of geese flying. I grew up in Muswell Hill next to Alexandra Palace, and there's a pond there, and I really remember the sound of the geese. I think it's the Canadian geese that fly when they migrate, and so that sound really makes me think of home. First time I acted, I used to like aggressively believe in fairies to the point where I really thought that I was one, and so I spent a lot of my childhood acting like I was a flower fairy. I can't remember, I think the author was called Daisy Meadows, but she did a series of fairy books, and so there was a fairy for literally everything. The chair fairy, sweet corn fairy, but I loved those books. I read them all. My first reaction when I read The Glitch was that it was very romantic and that I should probably buy myself some crystals. It made me hungry too, because there's lots of great cooking in it. I think as a big fan of the Harry Potters, I remember listening to Stephen Fry read Harry Potter, and he would do all the different voices, and he was so brilliant. I could go to bed with Stephen Fry in my ear every night. The first time I remember hearing my voice back, we actually did a radio play in primary school, and I remember really enjoying it, but finding it devastating when I'd heard my voice because it sounded like I was on helium. First time I knew I wanted to be an actor, the first time I did a proper school play, and I played Anne Boleyn, who was the most annoyed because she'd had her head chopped off. I really, really vividly remember people coming up to me at the end of it and saying like, gosh, I didn't expect that, because I was so quiet and shy as a child, and I remember being like, ooh, that's fun, I get an excuse to be like naughty and no one can tell me off, and that was the first time I think I got the bug for acting. First time I knew a character was right for me, when I got the audition through for Normal People and I read the book. It was the most profound experience because I really felt like this is my person. I really connected so deeply with Marianne. It had a feeling in my gut that this was meant for me. I've never done a voiceover. I'd love to. I'd love to do like a chocolate advert because they're always a bit sultry and sexy. Galaxy. Flaky flake. Do you know, the John Lewis advert would be fun to do because it's so iconic. Although they don't really have voiceovers on the Christmas advert. I'll do the voice of an animal, of a Christmas woodland animal. Hopelessly Devoted from the Grease soundtrack because it's really great to belt to. First rom-com I fell in love with, probably When Harry Met Sally. I remember watching that and just thinking it was incredible. First celeb crush was Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Actually, I tell a lie, well, it was Elvis as well, but I mean, I think at the same time, but I'm gonna go Tom Cruise. The first thing I do in the studio to warm up my voice is probably have a form of hot drink. So yeah, a coffee or a tea or no funny exercises, no. The first time I connected with Grace, my character in The Glitch, she's quite dramatic and also a bit of a klutz, and I connect very much with that. I'm less dramatic than Grace, I will say, but yeah, she overthinks, and I do too. The first 3 words I would use to describe The Glitch would be romantic, mysterious, and inspiring. The first thing I do when I finish recording an audiobook is a massive stretch because you're sat like that for about 6 to 7 hours. I mean, you don't have to sit like that. I don't know why I choose to, but anyway. So a big stretch is usually what I do. And then say, thank you, thank you. I'm Daisy Edgar-Jones and I narrate The Glitch with Sam Claflin. Listen now.